My name's Catherine Colombo, and I worked at MBNA for 4 years. I thought that you would be calling me to say, Kate, I've lost my card. Kate, my card's not working. The magnetic strip's been damaged. I didn't know that selling money was a concept. It never entertained. I never entertained the thought.
So those outward calls that you were making from day one were all about
Selling money, absolutely. Nothing else.
The balance transfers that were being done in welcome calling were an attractive way for the bank to make money by increasing the indebtedness of the cardholders. And so they wanted to take advantage of this. And what our job was to pinpoint it and then make the sale and save money for the customer, theoretically, and make money for the bank.
I probably doubled my salary.
And how would you get that extra money in your salary?
It would be based on how much money you sold, a certain percentage. So for each contact that you had, each call that came in, you needed to sell money to that customer. I think that the goal was like $25,000 per contact.
The more you brought in over the goal, the bigger your incentive.
We were doing things that were absolutely unethical, things that should be illegal, absolutely. She called, and her husband had left her, and I advised her that she could use the credit that she had on this card she had never used for cash, and we could put it into her checking account, and she could hire an attorney. And she actually asked me point blank if it was the right thing to do. Should I do this? And I told her that it was the right thing to do. And I knew that it wasn't the right thing for her to do because it was just going to put her into debt and she was not going to climb out of this.
I had a small problem with trying to undercut the husband who wasn't there by encouraging the wife to transfer a balance. Oh, you don't need your husband's approval on this. Wouldn't he be happy if you found you'd saved him several $100s? And that troubled me because I felt it entered an area of personal relationships between a man and a woman. It had nothing to do with banking.
Soldiers and Sailors Act helps to protect families from high interest rates when husbands or wives are on active duty. And I believe that when they're on active duty, the interest rate is either frozen at prime or just a couple of points above prime. And we were told that if a spouse calls in for whatever reason, that we were, and they happen to mention that their spouse is on active leave or active duty, we are not to tell them that they are eligible for the lower rate.
I think it's people's personal responsibility.
We could use that same argument when somebody crosses the street. You know, it's your responsibility to look both ways. Yet, if there's somebody coming around the corner, some crazed person coming around the corner, and if there's somebody, 2 or 3 feet away, and they see that person and the one who's crossing doesn't, are you just going to let them get hit by a car? No, you're not. You're going to help them. You're not going to push them into the car. You're going to pull them away from the car. And at the credit card companies, we were pushing them into the car. We were telling them, you need this money. You need to take this money. This is good for you. This is a good thing. We were convincing them of that. We were manipulating them. That was our job.
I definitely think credit accounts need to be controlled. I definitely think they need to be controlled because the banks and credit card companies are not going to, of their own volition, do anything because it's a going concern. They're making money, and as long as they're generating millions of dollars in income, they're not going to do anything.
It's unimaginable to me that Congress allows these things to happen in this country.
Do you think the credit card industry would correct itself, or do you think...
Absolutely not. Are you kidding? They're making huge sums of money. I think that it's the lobbyists in Washington that are going to prevent that from happening. The CEO of MBNA, often entertains George H.W. and George W. at his home.
What would make them behave differently?
If Congress were to put laws in place